EpicDev podcast, tech products that work.
Okay, so let me give you an example of what I think of when I think cutting edge user experience. The ironic thing about this is that it's been around for quite a while, but I'm starting to see it being implemented in ways that is extremely beneficial to systems. Okay, let me just start with the example. Okay, so recently we needed a specific resource, like probably just a fractional resource. I think you were in on that conversation where we were talking about getting a DevOps person to specifically assist us with QA and content type tasks, sort of leaning in the marketing department, which is kind of strange to begin with because a DevOps person, you know, you wouldn't think that you would require someone like that in the marketing department, but now here we are because content is king, right? And accurate content is king because of what AI is doing now. So I think it's the first time ever that I went onto a site called Freelancer. I think it's called Freelancer. And what they had done was actually super clever because I'm quite familiar with these systems. So to catch someone like me off guard is quite a feat, you know. I say that in a humble way. Okay, I'm just trying to lay the groundwork of how impressed I am. Okay,
with yourself or with Freelancer?
No, with how brilliant the user experience of their system is.
Yeah.
Because had I landed, and here's the crux of what I'm trying to get through, had I landed on a big form to fill out the freelancer that I'm looking for, because I want a person in a fractional capacity for this specific task or project, I wasn't there yet. I was exploring, you know. So I wasn't going to fill out a form and post a job. But little did I know what they were doing was, as I was signing up, they kind of they started introducing question for question into my sign up process. But what they were doing in the background was they were building a listing for freelancers. So, and before, like, yes, of course, there's a point at which you realize it, but then you're kind of halfway already and you're curious as to what the next question is going to be. And as it poses itself, and you're not even aware of the fact that this has now already taken 7 or 8 minutes of your time, and you were by no means going to engage anything because you've got a laundry list of things that you've got to do, and you were just going to explore what Freelancer is about and who's over there. But what they did was they already started pulling all this information out of me, and they were building a little listing. And by the time I had hit done, they had already published the listing, and people were already starting to respond on the listing and sending me their information. And I was like, whoa, you know, that to me is brilliant user experience, because it ticks boxes like the fact that we don't have time. Okay. They completely circumvented, like a really clever salesman that asks you the type of questions that sort of takes you aback a little bit, and you're answering without even realize that you're being pulled into, I don't know, sales acquisition or whatever, and you weren't kind of ready for it. So it's like, because you might have just responded, well, I don't have time for this right now. But little did you know, you were just kind of being reeled in like a fish. You know? So that's what they did. Like, I don't have time. I didn't even factor that into the equation while I was going through these little steps. Everyone online has some sort of attention deficit disorder, because, I mean, even the way that we work lately, I've got 3 screens open here in front of me. Like, there's something going on there. There's something going on. Just having the attention to now focus and have this conversation with you is quite, you know, it's impressive.
Yeah.
The fact that they engaged me, and it's kind of just question for question, you know, that whole rule, I think this is a UX rule as well, about always only have one focal point on the screen at a time, instead of this, like I said in the beginning, this big form. I would have looked at that and said, yes, okay, I'll get back to this. I understand now what you want from me. I will get back to this when I have time. So the time thing, the attention thing, and I suppose just the ease of use, I guess the ticking the first two boxes, maybe it automatically ticks the third box. It was easy to use because it's kind of just one little thing at a time, and they reel you in one step at a time. That's what I think is brilliant user experience. Yeah.
So I've always thought of user experience primarily, if I had to really dumb it down, as kind of the ease of use question, right? I've always been like, okay, user experiences, I land here and I want to have access to the things I want to have access to. And I don't want any complex menus or anything getting in my way of getting the job done. But sort of what you're saying is, yes, that's true. But these days, there's more sort of psychological things to take into consideration when it comes to UX, because I can give you all the buttons you need access to and everything, but because of how busy you are and how clouded your mind is, you're going to be like, okay, I've got access, I'll come back to you later. And now you as a UX designer have to actually take that into consideration and say, well, how do I draw you in? Never mind just giving you access now. It's now a thing of, I've got to suck you into the system to some extent. Am I understanding correctly?
Yeah, no, 100%. So I guess in a nutshell, what you're saying, which is totally accurate, is it's almost as though, is my system intuitive and easy to use, is now this foundational thing that just has to be that way. You don't even get to ask yourself that question as a qualifying criteria anymore. It's a given. It needs to just be a given. It's easy to use and it's intuitive. What is it that you're competing for? Attention. Like marketing, you're competing for attention because everyone's being bombarded every single minute of the day with their attention. I mean, isn't that what social media is doing at the moment? They're competing for your attention. Sometimes in quite a bit of a unethical way, I could say, in terms of society principles. Like that's a completely different conversation that we could get into, is that, like a kid's attention is being robbed from his schoolwork and homework. A father's attention is being robbed from his family and children. It's super philosophical. But I think that's what it comes down to as well, is that your user interface is also competing for attention with a whole lot of other things that's going on in this digital world for this specific user. So yes, you're exactly right. It becomes a bit of a psychological thing as well,